This video provides a comprehensive case study on the intersection of sex-segregated spaces, terminology, and congenital sex development. Please note that the information presented is for educational and research purposes and does not constitute formal medical or legal advice. We explore the complex relationship between biological sex, social spaces, and clinical definitions, examining how these concepts intersect in contemporary society and policy. This analysis covers the conflicts surrounding biological sex and gender identity, including social boundary friction in protected spaces, clinical realities of disorders of sex development, and related legal jurisprudence. We examine institutional conflicts in protected female spaces, highlighting cases such as the 2022 NCAA Swimming Championships. This section discusses privacy concerns and the arguments regarding biological reality in sports and private facilities. Proponents of sex-segregated spaces emphasize physical safety and fairness. The argument is that biological sex dictates physiological characteristics like bone density and muscle mass, which are central to discussions on fair competition and facility access. Debates also consider musculoskeletal architecture and the importance of distinct accommodations. Furthermore, we address the psychology of biological presentation, emphasizing that non-disclosure in intimate settings can be a critical point of concern regarding sexual consent. The linguistic shift regarding biological sex versus gender identity is a point of significant contention. We examine the critical view that sex is immutable versus the institutional framework that views sex and gender as distinct constructs. For medical professionals, diagnosing disorders of sex development follows strict, evidence-based protocols. This includes identifying physical indicators and using a diagnostic matrix that covers karyotyping and essential adrenal screenings. Advanced diagnostics include anatomical imaging to locate internal structures and metabolic tracking to identify specific genetic enzyme defects, ensuring a precise clinical understanding of the patient's condition. Studies indicate that individuals in DSD cohorts experience an elevated prevalence of psychiatric conditions, including ADHD, depressive disorders, and, in some cases, intellectual disabilities linked to underlying genetic factors. Similarly, research shows a high psychological burden within younger transgender female populations, with notable prevalence rates for depression, suicidality, and post-traumatic stress disorder. When DSDs are detected later in life, clinical profiles vary. We review 46 XX profiles, such as testicular DSD and non-classic congenital adrenal hyperplasia, which present with unique challenges during puberty. In 46 XY cases, conditions like complete androgen insensitivity syndrome and Swyer syndrome have specific clinical presentations that require tailored approaches, especially regarding the psychological impact of infertility. Oncological screening for 46 XY adolescents is critical due to the risk of malignancy in retained gonadal tissue. We outline the immediate intervention required for Swyer syndrome to manage these significant health risks. Finally, for conditions like CAIS, protocols may involve delayed gonadectomy to allow for natural pubertal development, followed by lifelong monitoring and essential hormonal replacement therapy to maintain long-term health. Following the 2022 legislative climate, states across the U.S. have aggressively codified definitions of biological sex. As of 2026, over 21 states have active bans restricting restroom and locker room access for transgender individuals based on their gender identity. We see a divergence in legal frameworks. The biological realism framework, adopted by states like Idaho and South Carolina, mandates that public facility access be strictly determined by biological sex as documented at birth, often with civil enforcement mechanisms. In contrast, the gender sovereignty framework, seen in states like California and New York, establishes, quote, sanctuary regulations. These laws classify gender identity as a protected status, requiring facility access to be granted based on self-identification. At the federal level, executive actions have sought to remove gender identity from civil rights enforcement. The Department of Education's 2026 regulatory agenda ties Title IX definitions exclusively to an individual's immutable biological characteristics. The Supreme Court case United States v. Scrimetti in 2025 set a foundational precedent. The ruling clarified that in statutory and medical contexts, the use of sex-based language does not trigger heightened judicial scrutiny. In 2026, the Supreme Court ruled in West Virginia v. BPJ that state laws restricting athletic participation based on biological sex do not violate Title IX or the Equal Protection Clause, citing privacy and competitive fairness. While athletic eligibility has seen federal clarification, restroom access remains a subject of ongoing legal conflict. The 11th Circuit, for example, has upheld school restroom separation based on biological sex as constitutional. Legal challenges continue in other circuits, such as the 4th Circuit, which has interpreted sex discrimination more broadly. Meanwhile, Idaho's attempts to criminalize certain restroom access have faced federal injunctions regarding vagueness. Policy proposals now explore automated biometric screening for public facilities. Proponents argue this is a non-invasive security protocol, similar to corporate keycard systems, to verify biological credentials without violating privacy. However, significant technical hurdles remain. Standard scanners currently map surface patterns, not genetic data. Real-time chromosomal verification is not currently feasible due to the time-intensive nature of biochemical analysis. Even if technology matures, collecting such sensitive genetic information raises major concerns under the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act. Managing a database of citizen biological data introduces severe cybersecurity and liability risks. Our matrix synthesizes these layers. Social and legal frameworks currently rely on manual verification, while clinical diagnostics for DSDs remain strictly within medical environments, unable to be translated to public access control. The economic impact of these policies is substantial. Retrofitting facilities for individual access can cost tens of thousands per unit, while new standalone infrastructure in urban centers often reaches millions per installation. Beyond construction, operational and maintenance costs add to the fiscal burden. Managing specialized restrooms requires higher labor and utility expenses compared to traditional communal designs. Finally, macroeconomic consequences are significant. Boycotts and the cancellation of major events following controversial facility legislation have historically resulted in multi-billion-dollar losses in economic activity for host cities and states. This section examines the cost-benefit allocation matrix for policymakers. We compare maintaining the status quo, which relies on multi-user sex-separated spaces, against the significant financial implications of retrofitting facilities for single-user access. Maintaining the status quo is the most cost-effective option, requiring no additional investment. However, it presents ongoing legal risks, as institutions may face litigation regarding access discrepancies under current civil rights challenges. Alternatively, the single-user retrofit model costs between $25,000 and $50,000 per facility. While this enforces clear boundaries, it reduces available square footage and carries high per-unit construction costs. Standalone modular expansion offers another path, though it is significantly more expensive, often exceeding $750,000 per unit. These projects avoid internal wall disruption but introduce high maintenance and utility fees. Complete system desegregation attempts to avoid boycotts and legal fines. However, this approach risks massive pushback from states enacting counter legislation and introduces new liability challenges under existing local privacy laws. To fund these overhauls, some legislatures are utilizing non-traditional capital reallocation. This includes diverting civil asset forfeiture funds and creating dedicated line-item budgets for physical plant modifications. State-level asset forfeiture redirection allows seized criminal assets to be used as matching grants for facility updates. This model aims to fulfill a compensatory justice rationale, potentially shielding taxpayers from direct financial costs. Educational systems are also implementing specific budget provisions. Through Safe Schools infrastructure grants, states are mandating retrofits that include private changing cubicles, with penalties for institutions that fail to comply. Architectural blueprints for high-privacy facilities are evolving. Modern designs, such as S-curve labyrinths and floor-to-ceiling dry stalls, are being engineered to eliminate line-of-sight breaches and ensure absolute acoustic isolation. These high-privacy locker room layouts feature interlocking doors and zero-gap frames. By moving hand-washing stations to monitored open-air central zones, architects aim to reduce areas where intimidation or boundary violations could occur. In conclusion, maintaining safety and privacy in public spaces involves complex trade-offs between architectural design, legal compliance, and fiscal management. These strategies highlight the ongoing effort to balance institutional mandates with individual needs. We encourage you to research further into these societal and community impacts. Understanding the connections between our policies and our shared environment is essential. Respecting autonomy remains a key principle for everyone.